and welcome to Analysis with me, Oyi Adekunle. After widespread backlash from many Nigerians to the nomination of presidential aide Lauretta Onochies for the position of a National Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Delta State, the Senate has finally bowed to pressure by rejecting her nomination. There had been massive outcry, especially from members of the opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP) and civil society organizations who claimed she is a card-carrying member of the ruling All Progressives Congress, although Onochie has denied this. Her refusal was based on the federal character principle and to adhere strictly to the act, as the Senate maintained that she's from Delta State and that the state already has May Agbamuche serving as the chairman, INEC Legal Services. Joining me now to discuss more on this is political analyst Onochie Aigbe. Mr. Aigbe, thank you very much for joining me again on the program. Now, let's begin with Onochie's initial nomination. Now, what do you make of it that the president even nominated her in the first place?
Yeah, that's a very good question for having me. One wonder why the president will abandon paragraph 14 of the first schedule of the Constitution that bars a partisan individual being nominated to INEC. We were really surprised. I was surprised, and I'm sure the same way many Nigerians were surprised. Those who are not surprised believe that the president have the power to nominate anybody, which is also good, but we also have a responsibility to point the Constitution to the and that beyond Onochie being from Delta State, and that the Constitution bars any partisan individual from being nominated to INEC. The Senate has done. Again, why we commend the Senate for rejecting the nomination, but the reason for the nomination needs to be further interrogated. It is not necessarily because she's from Delta State, yes, but that she's partisan, and that needed to be very clear, loud, and audible to everybody to know that Madam Onochie is partisan, though she's from Delta State, but she's partisan. We want to hold that partisanship very strongly, and that's the cause for concern. Thanks, Senate, but we need to amplify that partisanship nature that forbid a nominee to INEC from being partisan. I think that's very clear.
I mean, but would it have been okay if, because she did say that she's not a card-carrying member of the APC, that when President Buhari was going for second term, she had stopped being a member of the party. And in fairness to her too, she said that the opposition is because of a non-partisan nature. So would it have been okay if, for instance, she was a member, or she's no longer a member of the party? So in that instance, would it still have been okay for her to be nominated?
So before the Senate screening, I had in several occasions mentioned that even though Madam Onochie comes out tomorrow to say she's no longer a member of APC, it still does not forbid her from being partisan. Being partisan doesn't necessarily mean you're a member of party. Madam Onochie shares very strong alliances with the party called the APC, and of course with the president. As much as possible, the president needed to distance himself from the nominee. We know the very close alliance that Madam Onochie do have with the president. It's not just party membership; it goes beyond party membership. It is that she attacks people who are opposed to Mr. President. So if you check on our Twitter handle, our comments publicly, even after 2019 elections, because she said she did not go for renewal of her membership of the APC. But after 2019, she continued to make comments and support base for the president. Last year, she tweeted about the APC Congress, and she said, we are going through a growth process. She was part of the process because she said we, and she was referring to the APC. That was after she alleged that she's no longer a member of the APC, a year after. And in fact, many people argue that there'll be a lot of information flying on the internet. There've been a list coming from Onochie, north of Delta State, where her name is number 2. People say that was a long list, a very old list. or the court affidavit, the plaintiff affidavit, people say, no, that's a very long, old affidavit. But when we ask, when you swear an affidavit, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I don't want to engage in those legal matters. When you swear an affidavit where you are said that you are a member of the APC, setting your profile, wouldn't it be fair if it was an old affidavit to write back to the court that you are no longer a member of the APC, because that affidavit is still strong? Again, we are not arguing whether she's a member of APC or not. She is partisan. Being partisan does not only makes you a member party, that your alliances, your affiliation, those things you strongly hold. For example, when you say a television station is partisan, is the television station a member of a party? Of course, no. You are partisan. You support some very strong political views, and you put them out in a manner that is so strong, including attacking opponent of a political party. That makes you to be partisan. In this case, I will continue to say, is partisan, and the Constitution, the one that is partisan to be nominated to the INEC, to the Commission.
And let's look at it now, because we've seen a situation where when the PDP, for instance, went to the National Assembly to protest against the nomination, there was also another group that came to counter that protest to say, I mean, Onochie must, our nomination must not be withdrawn. She's highly principled and all of that. So based on these issues that we've seen, let's just talk about it now. What should we consider the requirement or criteria for somebody who should be an INEC commissioner?
Madam Onochie is well qualified to occupy any position in this country. No doubt. There is no argument about that. Clearly. Agenda is also not in doubt. That needed to be put on the table very quickly. Ms. Onochie contributed a lot to the president re-election in 2019, and the president do owe her a lot of gratitude, and one of those gratitude will be in terms of appointing her to positions of authority. We do recommend that the president should recommend her to the NPA, the NDDC board. She's from Delta State. She's a woman. She's highly qualified to hold those positions. The only reason the Constitution forbids her is because of her partisanship nature, nothing more. She's adequately qualified to hold public offices, but not as an umpire to supervise an election where the opposition she once attacked will be participating in. Like we have always said, even if Madam Onochie conducts an election that is free and fair, and APC wins the election free and fair, there'll be a lot of perception that she would have manipulated the electoral process. We don't want to get to that point. We need to be seen continually as an umpire, where all parties can adequately participate in a free, fair, and credible process. And we need that to happen. Madam Onochie's nomination to INEC doesn't represent that.
And very quickly, I also like to get your position on this controversial issue as well, on the plans by the National Assembly to remove the provision for the electronic transmission of election results. What's your take on that?
So the CDD has actually made a very strong position on that. We have said that the fears of the lawmakers about transmission of results is probably about hacking, and we have advised, why don't you create a two-way accountability process where there's a paper trail to the electronic transmission of results? So what do? Just like you have the POS machine, when you make payment, there's a printout. Why don't you advise INEC to ensure that for every vote there's a printout where the voter eventually drop that paper trail in a box openly displayed at the point of voting, so that there will be a collaboration, vote from the ballot of the paper trail and the electronic device before you transmit that to the collation point. There is no fear about what happened with transmission. We are not doing online voting. We need to have that clear. That is subservient to a lot of manipulation and all of that. So the National Assembly need to immediately put back that provision. Since the bill already agrees to electronic voting, there need to be an electronic transmission. Again, the bill also make provision for an electronic register to be kept, an electronic result register to be kept with INEC. So how do you provide for electronic register and not provide for electronic transmission? I mean, it's just a normal to have electronic voting, electronic transmission, and electronic database. And that's what will improve our electoral process. We'll continue to improve our electoral process. As we use this, we check the errors. Again, I'm not saying that these are not error-proof. The same way we are challenged with the paper transmission of this opaque system subject to manipulation, system that can be attacked, system that we may have that with electronic transmission. But with the fear that Russia attacked US system, it's not going to be the same with Nigeria. Let's have that in place. There's need for paper trail and electronic transmission of result will be the best for the Nigerian electoral system. It will improve on electoral integrity.
I just want you to explain further how significant it would be if this actually goes through.
If it goes through, it will reduce the cost that INEC spend on voting, on elections. If you know the amount of money INEC spent for ballot papers alone, ballot paper is what it's printed at a currency level, and each election, each position is coded to a particular polling unit. That is expensive. None of those ballot papers are printed in country. They are brought in, and that's where you see in previous elections, 2011, 2015, 2019, we had to postpone election at some point because of logistic challenge. Bringing in those materials with cargo aircraft is not in the best interest of Nigeria. We are sending our money outside to other countries who use our own money. We don't need to do that. We need local processing of our materials, and it will truly reduce the money we spend on election and then push that money to solving the poverty of this country.
Well, Mr. Mori, a political affairs analyst, we thank you very much for joining us on Analysis and for sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, we'll take a break here, and when we return, we'll be talking about something completely different from electoral matters. Please stay with us.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We are only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came up with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Now, the Global Pro-Life Alliance, GPA, has raised an alarm over the dangers of genetically modified foods to Nigeria's agriculture and economy. In a letter addressed to President Muhammadu Buhari, the GPA alleged that there are plans by some international biotechnology companies to disrupt Nigeria's food security using GMO seeds shared to local farmers. Now, the group is warning that GMO foods are toxic and can cause cancer, growth retardation, and environmental degradation. Joining me now to shed more light on these concerns raised is the chairman of the Global Pro-Life Alliance on World Peace, Professor Philip Njemanze. He joins us via Skype from another part of Lagos. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Prof. Now, this your report. You spoke about GM foods and you're asking the federal government to ban it. So my first question is, What are GMO foods and how dangerous are they that you're asking for an outright ban?
Yes, genetically modified organisms foods are a type of foods that you modify the gene that makes up the crop. What does that really mean? You take an insecticide. In this case, we are discussing BT cowpeas. It's bacteria turigensis, which is an insecticide that kills pests. So this pesticide is now, the gene is inserted into the genetic makeup of the plant, which you want to, in this case, cowpeas, which is the normal Nigerian beans. When you insert it, then it produces a pesticide that kills the pests that go to grow in these beans. So by doing that, what you have ended up doing is that you have inserted a pesticide that prevents that beans from being eaten up by these pests. Well, this poisonous substance that kills the pests so happens to also kill humans. It's just like you're being told to take the insecticide you use for your mosquito. So whenever you go around and the mosquito gets a wing that you're around with the insecticide you have drank, then they will run away from you. Well, the problem is that the insecticide is also a poison that kills humans. So in this case, these bacteria turigensis have been shown, demonstrated with scientific evidence to cause cancer. It causes infertility. It causes leukemia, that's the blood cancer. It causes all forms of deformations and growth retardation. If you feed children in schools with the beans with this BT cowpeas or the BT turigensis, which we call the bacteria turigensis, you will end up having children with retarded growth. These are demonstrated by the Russian Academy of Sciences, by the French, by the Australians, by the Brazilians. There is ample scientific evidence.
Sorry to cut you here, Prof, but if I get you correctly, what you mean is that the substances that are being used to prevent pests from maybe eating up beans or cowpea, as you called it, is the problem here. So what you're basically saying is, let's stop the use of this kind of pesticides. Is that it?
No. The issue is this is inserted into the gene of the cowpeas, of the beans. So there is no way, it is not an insecticide from outside. It's not a pesticide from outside. It's inserted into the gene. So when you eat it, you are eating it with the pesticide already incorporated in the beans. So there is no way of separating it. So this is a tremendous poisoning, mass poisoning of the Nigerian people. There is nothing that has been done to this level that we will end up with total genocide of our people. In fact, we project from the studies we have looked at that by 2030, over 75% of Nigerians will have one form of cancer or the other. This is the worst thing that has ever been done in the history of this country. In fact, the whole of Europe banned these substances. I mean, why would Europe, if they were so good, why would Europe ban them? Mind you, the major company that is producing this is European. Monsanto Bayer is European. Why would they ban it? You can't get in any of these substances into Europe. 1% contamination with any GMO will cause a ban in Europe, in Russia, in America, everywhere. This will kill Nigerian agriculture. We will not be able to export any of our products to the outside world because they are contaminated with this GMO. So what's the end plan here? So we are actually, destroying Nigerian agriculture by introducing GMO. This makes no sense.
But speaking about incorporating it now, how is this done? When you say it's been incorporated into the DNA of seeds, how is that done?
Yeah, it's done in the laboratory. It's done in the laboratory. What they do is that they take the gene, the genetic makeup of the crop, and they insert this BT thuringiensis right into it, and that's it. It's there. It's done. It's not from outside. Nobody's going to apply it from outside. So, and once it's applied, it stays there forever. And this is a dangerous, highly dangerous thing, a potential threat to our national security, to our food security, and to our health.
And from your findings, are these modifications done internally, or are you alleging that they are done abroad and exported to Nigeria? Is that what you're saying?
They are done. They are done both externally and internally. They have incorporated institutions. They have incorporated places here. Monsanto is running this program in collaboration with their Indian representatives, and then in collaboration with some Nigerians. They are doing this right before us within our borders, and they are pushing this into the marketplace. They want to cultivate 12 million hectares all across Africa. This is what is driving the insecurity, because they have to kill the natural seed growers, the farmers, the small farmers. They have to kill them, and drive them away from their farms, so they can now push in this product. This is what is responsible for the Boko Haram terrorism. This is what is responsible for the herdsmen. This is the thing driving the entire insecurity in this country. So the day we ban these GMOs, the day we say we not only will keep our health, we will not only keep our agriculture, we will also end this insecurity, because this is what is driving it. This is the biotech companies are pushing this product, so they want to kill all the natural seed growers, all the smallholder farmers, so that once they leave the stage, we will only have these GMOs before us to eat. And the only way to do it is in the National Assembly, for the National Assembly, for the people to cry out that the National Assembly ban GMOs and we burn all the fields. Once we do that, we will end this insecurity and this nightmare in the country.
But have you considered, or have you taken your report to appropriate authorities? Now, I mean the Ministry of Health, or maybe the Ministry of Agriculture, the National Assembly, and so on, to ensure that it is worked on. Have you been able to make engagements to ensure that they actually act upon your report?
Yes, we have. In fact, the copy of the letter you have is the open copy of that to President Buhari. The same copy has gone to all the leaders of the National Assembly. They have copies of this. The ministries have copies of this, and the whole authorities that need to know already have copies of this. The problem is that these biotech companies are pushing with bribes, giving money to key people, and then pushing this product. And the only way we can get out of this nightmare in this country is to ban the genetically modified foods. The same thing Europe did. Ask the Europeans, why did the Italian Prime Minister have to set fields and fields of GMOs on fire? Why did the Hungarians do that? Why did the Russians do that? Are they stupid? Don't they know that the value of food? Because they know that GMO is not food, it's poison. You can't substitute poison for food. This is the major driver of insecurity in Nigeria, and this is being driven by so much interest. So much money is being given, bribes are being given at the National Assembly, at governmental level, and every.
Well, Prof, I'm sorry. This is where we just have to leave it, and we do hope that, as you've rightly said, you'll forward your recommendations and findings to the government for attention, because that's the best way to go about it. Well, thank you very much for your time, Professor Philip Njemanzi. Thank you so much for joining us on Analysis.
Thanks for having me.
Well, with that, we'll call it a wrap on this episode of the program. Remember, you can watch this episode again and other previous episodes on our YouTube channel at TV360 Nigeria. You can also catch other programs on our YouTube channel and Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at TV360 Nigeria. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time. I'm Onochie Adekunle. Bye for now.